Rapper Soulja Boy was arrested on weapons charges early this morning in the Fairfax Way. Was a passenger in a car during a traffic stop around 2:30.
Let's go.
We're talking about Miss Vivica A. Fox. The actress is here ahead of her appearance at the Century Center.
Here. I get to come here every one.
LA, and I think that's unfair to all the truth.
This is the beginning of the prime.
Soulja Boy? Yeah, he's been canceled. Nobody's checking for him anymore. So, at this point, he better secure that bag however he can. It's been a long time since he had anything close to a hit. You might have thought Soulja was just trading shots with Kai Wayans. But nah, look again. This isn't some small petty feud. Soulja's got an entire walk-in closet full of skeletons, shaking loud, and from the way it looks, he's running out of ways to keep that door shut. What began as a random throwaway comment on a radio show has now turned into a full-scale expose, dragging secrets he's kept buried for years straight into daylight. And trust me, they're way uglier than most people ever imagined.
Pretty boy coming through, me and my crew, we...
Remember when 50 Cent blamed Season 2's ratings drop on gay stuff? What was your reaction? Because honestly, that was the pot calling the kettle pitch black. Forget the watered-down versions you've already heard. The real drama starts when you rewind to that weird moment during Trump's inauguration weekend. Out of absolutely nowhere, Soulja shows up at some shady crypto event, one of those sketchy gigs that raises more eyebrows than applause, smiling like he just signed $1 billion deal. It was already suspicious. But then Marlon threw a light jab during a radio interview, brushing Soulja off like he was a background character. And that's when everything flipped. Because Soulja didn't just take it as shade.
New at 5, rapper Soulja Boy was arrested on weapons charges early this...
He treated it like a full declaration of war. And what most people miss is why his reaction was so extreme. When you're sitting on as many buried scandals as Big Draco is, even the smallest joke can feel like someone's about to rip the whole curtain down. That's why he didn't just ignore Marlon's words. He sprinted to X like his whole image was on fire and clapped back with this wild post. I can't believe I'm arguing with a dude who dresses up like a white chick. What's wrong with me? But Marlon's no rookie. The man's been roasting people longer than Soulja's even been relevant. So he didn't just reply, he struck. And he didn't stop at jokes either. He went straight for the core of Soulja's so-called street image. That's when everything started to fall apart. Behind the scenes, whispers about Soulja's contradictions have been floating for years. The real him versus the version he performs for the public. Folks in the industry have been side-eyeing everything, from his shady business deals to his personal behavior, suggesting the Soulja Boy brand is more costume than character. And Marlon? He just handed those whispers a megaphone. But here's what made it deeper. This wasn't the first time someone cracked that door open. Years ago, Vivica A. Fox already threw hints at the same rumors. When she was asked about that XXL cover with 50 and Soulja,
I was mad at him. Do you know how much shit he had talked?
And 50 blaming low ratings on gay content, Vivica didn't flinch. She basically replied with a Hollywood smoke signal. And in that world, when someone sidesteps with a cryptic that's code for, you already know they're hinting at something way bigger than they're saying out loud. In Soulja's case, people started connecting dots real quick. Vivica didn't just shade him. She basically told the world, I know exactly what these dudes are up to.
We're talking about Miss Vivica A. Fox. The actress is here ahead of her appearance at...
And don't forget, Vivica's not some newcomer. She's been around long enough to peek behind every velvet rope. So when you link her subtle hints to Soulja's explosive reaction to Marlon's little joke, going from calm to transphobic in 60 seconds, it starts to look like textbook projection. That's the oldest move in the game. Accuse someone of the very thing you're hiding yourself. But then this beef took a hard left turn. Out of nowhere, Marlon dropped a country diss track. Yeah, you heard that right. A country diss track. And the moment it hit the internet, the vibe shifted from "this is messy" to "oh nah, it's over." In the song, Marlon rapped, Soulja Boy is on cack and meth. I can smell it on his breath. Yes, he's on that Chris. It's cack. The internet lost it. That clip went viral in group chats, got slipped into club DJ sets just to watch the crowd's reaction, and even got radio spins. Marlon didn't just roast Soulja, he torched his image in public. And right when you thought it couldn't get crazier, TMZ pulled up with new footage. Cameras caught Marlon walking out of a restaurant in LA, and you'd expect some Hollywood damage control. He didn't hold back at all. He hit Soulja with, "I put you in one of my movies. You couldn't even do 2 songs. I only remember one. I need a crackhead for my next horror flick. You're perfect. I need someone who looks like a wet Muppet." That right there reminded everyone. Marlon's got receipts too, and a platform Soulja can't even touch. But then Soulja made his biggest mistake yet. Instead of keeping the beef personal, he went after Marlon's transgender son, Kai. Soulja fired a disgusting low blow. "That runs in the family, huh? No wonder you like dressing up. It's in your blood." And that is when everything went too far. This wasn't just celebrity banter anymore. It got personal, ugly, and the kind of move that can make even your own fans flip on you overnight. In both Hollywood and the music industry, everybody's got dirt on everybody. They just wait for the right excuse to air it out. And by going after Kai, Soulja basically rolled out a red carpet for Marlon to go nuclear. When Marlon clapped back, those skeletons didn't just creep out. They came stomping out of Soulja's closet, doing the electric slide across the timeline. One of the biggest cracks in Soulja's image has always been the space between his tough guy act and what actually goes down when he's under pressure. And nothing exposed that gap like the infamous night at his mansion, the one that ended in gunshots and a messy legal case that still haunts him today. It was supposed to be a smooth, flashy celebration for his album drop. Cameras, champagne, Soulja flexing like a boss. But instead, it turned into a scene straight out of a late-night crime doc. Soulja's version? Masked intruders stormed his place, and he went full action hero. But people who were there? They tell a different story. The whispers say it wasn't random. And everything goes back to one name, Droop. Soulja's version says 5 masked men broke in. But Droop's story flips everything upside down. He says he and his crew were part of Soulja's own label. Not intruders. They weren't there to rob him. They were there to confront him.
Why?
Because they heard their own song playing at the party, but with Soulja's verse slapped on top, with no permission, no credit, and no payment. Droop laid it all out in recent interviews. When they first signed, Soulja promised them everything. Production credits, features, streaming cuts. On top of that, they were choreographing his shows, creating content, basically building his whole stage presence. But after months of work, they got nothing. No cash. No credit. Not even a thank you. Man, who's in this crib? Pass me the thing. I looked through the door. I see 3. For dudes in masks. I jumped out and started shooting. But Droop says it wasn't a robbery. It was the boiling point. He claims he confronted Soulja, demanded answers, and when Soulja started deflecting, he snapped. Literally. Droop says he slapped Soulja twice. That's when Soulja grabbed a gun and fired. While he was fighting for his life, Soulja had already called the cops and painted him as an armed intruder. That one move flipped the entire narrative, and suddenly Droop was facing a 25-year attempted robbery charge. In his first police report, Soulja said 5 masked intruders. Later, it dropped to 3. Then the weapons changed. First it was heavy artillery, then suddenly just handguns. It all smelled off. The twist? Soulja's former right-hand man, A.B., backed up Droop's story, even though they hadn't been cool for years. His voice reportedly cracked when talking about the masked intruders, like he'd been traumatized by it all. Other artists who've worked with Soulja say the exact same thing. He reels people in with big promises, exposure, production deals, cash. But once they've done the work, nothing. Ghosted. No credit. No payment. Just excuses. Meanwhile, their beats, hooks, choreography, all stamped with Soulja's name. Then when you line that up with his other shady ventures, the pattern becomes clear. Take his so-called first rapper to launch a gaming console stunt. Sounded groundbreaking. But turns out it was just a cheap Chinese emulator with a new logo slapped on and sold for a massive markup. Or that multi-million-dollar mansion he bragged about. Yeah, it was just an Airbnb rental. And let's not forget that Trump inauguration crypto stunt, where he basically admitted he only answers to whoever throws the biggest bag. No loyalty. No vision. Just quick flips and empty flexes. So when Marlon came swinging with that roast, it hit harder than anyone expected. Because he wasn't just clowning Soulja, he was exposing the whole pattern. The contradictions, the shortcuts, the hollow titles. That's why Soulja went into panic mode, deleting his entire tweet history once it was obvious he was losing. His follow-up post read like a desperate PR move. I apologize for crashing out. I'd just be trying to defend myself, but sometimes I go too far. Back to the music and TV shows. Love y'all. But the damage? Already done. What made this feud stand out was how perfectly it exposed how Hollywood really works. There's an unspoken code. Certain things, family, identity, personal journeys, stay off limits until someone crosses the line. And when Soulja came for Marlon's transgender son Kai, he didn't just cross the line, he bulldozed it. Marlon has always been open and proud about his journey with Kai. Just this past June, he posted Pride Month photos with a caption that had people calling him Father of the Year. As a father of a child in the LGBTQ+ community, I show my support. Zero concern for what people think. If I lost you, good. That's why the LGBTQ+ community rallied behind him like it was a championship match. They saw a dad standing up for his kid against someone trying to weaponize identity for clout. And in Hollywood, where your image can flip in seconds, that kind of solidarity can turn a PR nightmare into a career-defining win. Within hours, Protect Kai was trending. And you could literally watch Soulja's brand deals evaporating in real time. Meanwhile, Marlon wasn't holding back. His first public response? If Soulja Boy had a career, he could get canceled for this type of slander. Luckily, he ain't been relevant since 2007. The internet howled. But he didn't stop there. He twisted the knife. 2 million likes in hours. That's when it became clear Marlon had completely connected with the public. Not just as a comedian, but as a father holding the line. Watching who else started quietly picking sides. People who hadn't said a word in years suddenly started liking shady posts, dropping cryptic comments, and showing where their loyalty was. This wasn't just Marlon versus Soulja anymore. It became a Hollywood loyalty test. And Soulja wasn't looking too supported. Obama never put money in my pocket. Kamala never put money in my mom's pocket. Trump did. Meanwhile, Marlon's resume speaks for itself. From In Living Color to White Chicks to a stand-up career that still sells out theaters, he's built a bulletproof legacy. Soulja? Still trying to stretch, crank that like it's 2007 and leaning on half-baked business stunts that feel faker by the day. The split in support said it all. The A-list lined up behind Marlon. Soulja's corner? Looked like an empty venue. Even artists who once collaborated with him caught sudden industry amnesia. No reposts. No defense. Just crickets. And in Hollywood, that silence is deafening. The fallout hit fast. 3 major sponsors dropped him before the week was even up. His streams tanked. Every metric he used to flex became a reminder of how fast the tide can turn. Meanwhile, Marlon's stock shot through the roof. That same week Soulja's brand crumbled. Marlon was being honored with an induction into the NAACP Image Awards Hall of Fame. A move that turned this feud into something much bigger than beef. It became a statement. It reminded the world who's respected, who's protected, and who gets left behind when the industry decides it's done with you. Marlon didn't just win bragging rights. He's now fielding studio offers for LGBTQ+-centered projects. His social engagement? On fire. And the man just pulled off a masterclass in how to win a beef without ever breaking a sweat. First, the sharp clapbacks. Then the viral memes. Then that now legendary country diss track. Every move calculated. Every shot precise. And every hit landing right where Soulja was weakest, his image. The takeaway? When your whole persona is smoke and mirrors, you don't come for a comedy legend's kid. Especially when that legend has a direct line to every piece of dirt the industry's been whispering about you for years. And the scoreboard? It's not even close. Marlon walks away with W after W, NAACP honors, new deals, and more cultural capital than ever. Soulja? He's left in the rubble, with his skeletons out here doing the electric slide across social media. No shame, no filter, just dancing in the daylight. So let's hear it. Who really took the crown in this one? Because from where we're standing, this scoreboard's looking real one-sided. Hit that like, smash subscribe, and buckle up because something tells us this saga, it ain't over. Not even close. Industry whispers are already buzzing about more skeletons, just waiting for the right moment to pop out. And if the last few weeks are any clue, the next chapter might just make this one look mild. Shout out to everyone who stuck with us through this roller coaster. Y'all are the real MVPs. We just walked through years of unfiltered drama, shady business moves, and roasts sharp enough to slice glass. And if this was just chapter 1, chapter 2 might just break the internet.